After turning off his Jeep's engine to follow a distressed apex predator into the bush, 34-year-old senior ranger Mark Thorne found himself completely surrounded by a pride of 15 wild lions, miles away from civilization. And what the alpha male did next is shocking. This isn't a fairy tale. This is the raw, terrifying reality recorded on the blistering plains of the Sabi Sands Game Reserve in South Africa. Mark Thorne, a veteran of the bush with over a decade of experience tracking big cats, thought he had seen everything. He knew the unspoken rules of the savannah. Never leave the vehicle, never turn your back, and never ever trust a predator that is acting out of character. But on that Tuesday afternoon, the rules were about to be broken. It started at 2 p.m. under the relentless heat of the African sun. Mark was on a routine solo patrol near the northern border of the reserve, an area known for dense scrub and limited visibility. His chest-mounted GoPro was recording as he spotted him. It was Titan, a massive male lion Mark had tracked since he was a cub. Titan was the king of the Riverland Pride, a 400-pound killing machine known for his aggression toward vehicles. But today, Titan wasn't charging, he wasn't roaring. He was standing in the middle of the dirt track, staring directly at Mark's windshield, letting out a low, mournful whine that sounded more like a wounded dog than the king of beasts. Mark later told interviewers that the look in Titan's amber eyes wasn't rage, it was desperation. The lion would walk a few paces into the bush, stop, look back at the Jeep, and wait. It was an invitation, a plea against every protocol in the Ranger Handbook, and driven by a gut feeling he couldn't explain. Mark grabbed his medical kit and his tranquilizer rifle, opened the door, and stepped onto the red dirt. For 45 minutes, the man followed the beast. The GoPro footage shows a terrifying perspective. The thick grass parting just feet ahead, the heavy breathing of the ranger, and the massive paws of Titan leading him deeper into the labyrinth of thorns. Every shadow could have been a hidden threat, every rustle could have been an ambush. But Titan kept a steady pace, constantly checking over his shoulder to ensure the human was still following. They finally reached a clearing near a dried-up riverbed, and the smell hit Mark first, the metallic tang of old blood and infection. There, lying on her side in the dust, was Kali, the pride's lead huntress and Titan's longtime mate. The scene was heartbreaking. A rusted, jagged wire snare, likely set by poachers days ago, had wrapped tightly around her midsection. The wire had cut deep into her flesh. She was barely breathing, her ribs heaving with shallow, painful gasps. Flies were swarming her open wounds, and her eyes were glazed over. She was dying. Mark froze. He realized why Titan had brought him here. But the situation was impossible to save her. Mark would have to get within striking distance of a wounded, terrified lioness, while her massive protective mate watched from inches away. One wrong move, one flinch, and Titan's instinct to defend his mate would override his desperation for help. Mark would be torn to shreds in seconds. Mark whispered into his radio, but the signal was dead. He was on his own. He knew he couldn't tranquilize both of them. He only had one dart loaded, and reloading took too long. He had to make a choice. He raised the rifle and fired a sedative dart into Kali's flank. She flinched, growled weakly, and then her head slumped into the dust. She was out. Now came the true test. Titan let out a low growl as Kali went limp. Mark dropped the gun and held out his hands, palms up, staring directly at the male lion. "It is okay, boy," he whispered, his voice trembling on the recording. "I am here to help her." Miraculously, Titan sat down. He sat 5 feet away, watching like a sentinel. Mark pulled out his wire cutters and knelt beside the lioness. Up close, the damage was catastrophic. The wire was embedded deep. For the next hour, the only sounds were the snip of wire cutters, the buzzing of flies, and the heavy rhythmic breathing of the male lion watching over Mark's shoulder. Mark had to use surgical precision, peeling back infected skin to remove the rusty metal. His hands were slick with sweat and blood. At one point, the GoPro captures Titan standing up and stepping closer. You can hear Mark's breath hitch. He freezes. But Titan didn't attack. The lion leaned in and gently licked the side of Kelly's face, whining softly before looking at Mark as if to say, "Hurry," as the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long, dangerous shadows across the clearing. Mark finally snapped the last piece of wire. He cleaned the wound with antiseptic, injected a heavy dose of long-acting antibiotics, and applied a healing spray. It was done, but the danger wasn't over. The sedative was wearing off, and nightfall, the time when Lion's hunt was approaching. Mark packed his bag and prepared to back away, but suddenly the bushes around the clearing erupted with movement. Mark spun around, his heart hammered against his ribs. From the shadows they emerged, one by one, the rest of the pride. 12 other lions, subadults and sisters of Kali stepped into the light. Mark was completely encircled. He was a lone human in the center of a 15-strong super pride. He reached for his rifle, but it was empty. This was it. He had served his purpose. And now he was prey. He closed his eyes, waiting for the impact, but the attack never came. Instead, the pride did something that experts are calling unprecedented. They didn't growl, they didn't crouch. They slowly walked past him, brushing their massive bodies against his legs like house cats. They formed a tight circle around Kali and Mark, facing outward toward the dark bush. They were not trapping him, they were guarding him. Titan, the alpha male, walked up to Mark. The huge lion stood on his hind legs, placing his massive paws on Mark's shoulders. The camera shakes violently here, capturing the sheer size of the animal. Mark braced for the bite, but Titan simply pressed his forehead against Mark's chest. Rumbling purr that vibrated through the ranger's entire body. It was a moment of pure interspecies communication. A thank you for 20 minutes. The pride held this formation, an honor guard protecting the human who had saved their queen. As Kali began to stir, groggily lifting her head, the circle opened. Titan nudged Mark gently with his nose, pushing him toward the path back to his jeep. He was being dismissed. He was being allowed to leave. Mark walked backward for a mile, tears streaming down his face, the adrenaline crash nearly making him collapse. When he finally reached his jeep and reviewed the footage, he knew the world would struggle to believe it. Dr. Sarah Mbeki, a leading zoologist who reviewed the unedited footage, stated that the behavior displayed by the Riverland pride completely baffled science. She noted that while lions are social, this level of altruism and the specific guard of honor formation around a human has never been documented in the wild. It suggests a level of emotional intelligence and gratitude that biology has largely denied these predators until now. Mark Thorne returned to the site 2 days later. He found the pride resting near the water. Kali was there, walking with a slight limp but alive. When the jeep approached, Titan didn't run. He lifted his head, locked eyes with Mark, and slowly blinked, a universal sign of trust. This story forces us to rethink everything we know about the wild. We often look at nature as a cruel, unfeeling machine, survival of the fittest. But in that clearing, under the African sun, a lion and a man proved that compassion is a language that transcends species. It reminds us that when we treat the world with kindness, even the most dangerous beasts can show us their souls. Because in the end, perhaps we aren't so different after all.